I'm Amanda, and this is Wellness Me Up. This is where we are talking about weird and wise and all of the wildly supportive sides of wellness with coaches, therapists who can actually just connect you when you're just done pretending that everything is fine in the world. So today, I am joined by Kathleen Falvari, who is a registered social worker, a psychotherapist with a background in health systems science. Kathleen has worked in hospitals, healthcare systems, not for profits. And what I'm learned about Kathleen is that she actually helps the helpers, the healthcare workers, the first responders, all the teachers, the coaches, the parents, educators, you name it, just to help them better balance their lives and prevent burnout. And so I asked Kathleen to sum up their approach to wellness in one or two sentences, and here's what they said. My approach to wellness is practical and realistic. I focus on simple, evidence-informed tools that people can use in the middle of real life, especially when they're busy, overwhelmed, or balancing a lot. So let's see if what Kathleen has to share can help you get a little bit more wellnessed up. And there is Kathleen.
Thanks, Amanda. Appreciate the thoughtful introduction, and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome, and thank you for being here. When I got so excited, and I've always said this at the beginning because I wish people could hear our pre-conversation with what we're having, because there's so much talk in the wellness space and how we can help other people. And you are somebody that's helping the helpers. And we sometimes don't think about that the helpers need help too, right? And that's just wellness. Nobody is above needing wellness and support and doing these things. We all need support. We all need some help and doing all the good stuff. So I'm really excited that we're connected and you're here today to chat about this.
Absolutely. It's so true. And I find that the population of helpers or public service professionals, parents and coaches, they are at increased risk. They're also subject to kind of the rhetoric and the culture of I've got to be strong and I am a superhero. If you remember from the pandemic, there were a lot of lawn signs that said not all heroes wear capes. And though those are really helpful and kind of well-intended statements where we don't know what else to do. So we say really positive, hopefully uplifting things. It also, unfortunately, creates this or prevents people from being able to access or prevents them from having the permission to seek help for themselves. It creates this, what I've noticed is this dynamic of either you are okay or you're not okay. And if you aren't okay, how do you reach it? How do you become okay if you don't have access to the tools and resources, whether it's because you physically don't have access to them or because there's an emotional or a cultural barrier that prevents us from kind of stepping foot in or the door of those resources or being able to have those conversations. That's made me passionate based on my own experience and those that I've talked to about really wanting to help reduce those barriers, break down those walls.
Mm-hmm. It's so true, right? Because I feel like some sort of stigma can start getting created with this because I work in the field that I'm somehow supposed to be above this. I'm not supposed to gain help myself. I'm not supposed to do these things or want it or need it. I remember too, even my own personal experience way, way, way back when, because I worked in this field, I somehow thought, well, I don't need to get therapy. I don't need to do any of these things. If anything, like I needed it more. And I recognize that now because I have worked through with so many therapists and I've had that privilege to do that and to learn so much about myself. And I thought, holy shit, I wish I had started this so much sooner because I
Mhm.
just felt so much more supported when I started doing it. But there's this, I don't know if that stigma is the right word for it, but it just, I always felt like I shouldn't want it or need it. I didn't think about my own
Mhm.
health and my own
Yeah.
self-care because I was helping so many other people with what they
Mhm.
were going through and experiencing. So, mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not alone in that. I hear that from a lot of people in helping professions, a lot of women especially, where we're not taught how to prioritize ourselves. We're actually kind of almost shamed that way. A couple of things that I've heard in relation to that is I have all the knowledge in the world. I am often recommending strategies for balance or recommending that people prioritize themselves as a helper. But it's very different when it's me noticing those signs and symptoms because I'm so attuned to what other people are experiencing, what other people need, what other people are going through. It makes me almost blind to what I'm experiencing in order to take my own advice. And I've fallen into that pattern myself as a therapist, and therapists need therapists too. There's no amount of experience and textbook knowledge that will cure you of being a human that needs support, that needs the um, tools and resources, or needs to use the tools and resources that you recommend to others. We really do have to give ourselves permission to be human. And I think part of that is not just a necessity for well-being, but also a responsibility to be able to model that for others. And we do a good thing for us, and we do a good thing for others when we slow the our lives down just a little bit to take a look at how we might be able to adjust things and how we might be able to prioritize. And one of my favorite mantras that I always keep in the back of my mind is helping ourselves is part of helping others. That kind of keeps me, yeah, in check.
That absolutely would, because it's like that. I always think of that analogy, that the metaphor with the airplane, right? With the mask, that if the
Yeah.
oxygen, if it comes down, right? If we do not put it on ourselves, we are not going to be able to help other people and do that. So you can actually do a better job if you're helping
hmm
yourself first and taking care of all of your things that you need and putting yourself first, because I always say too that selfish and self first are not at all the same fucking thing,
A
like
hundred
at
percent, a hundred
all the
percent.
same thing. Yes. Hmm.
It
So yeah,
really
that's
aren't, yeah.
oh my gosh. So okay, so usually how I kick off, and we just started diving right into it, but with this podcast I usually talk about these 6 areas of wellness: and spiritual wellness, relationship wellness, emotional mental health, physical, life transitions, identity, financial, and purpose. So when you're supporting these helpers, that like you're helping the helpers get help and all of this good stuff, does one area kind of pop up more than another with what you're helping them through, and like specifically with your niche with helping people through burnout and all of that good stuff? And then
Mhm,
how are you actually supporting people on that journey?
mhm.
How are you supporting all these helpers through all this stuff?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And as I was kind of digesting and reflecting on the categories, the 6 dimensions that you shared, I was thinking that the work that I do kind of fits into each of those buckets. I'd say first, the emotional and mental well-being. And with that, like we know about the brain-body connection, and we know that we can't be 100% physically well if we're not mentally, emotionally well. And our emotional and mental wellness also impacts our spiritual wellness and vice versa, and our relationships and how we feel like our lives are financially sustainable, life transitions, all those things kind of tie together. But I think at the cusp of it, I'd say that the emotional mental wellness is where my work focuses in order to facilitate all those other pieces of life. And a lot of the work that I do is based on the dimensions of wellness, which is something that I got really familiar with, social determinants of health, dimensions of wellness in my public health systems days, and it's carried forward into the work that I do and become very relevant.
Mm-hmm. It's, I think that that's one of the most beautiful things when we've had all these experiences in our careers with different areas and what we support people through. And they've already given us a lot of the framework and the language, and we can carry that right into these areas. Like I was a child and youth worker for years, like I did that for 7 years. And very much how I thought about wellness is how we would structure a plan of care for a kiddo, with like, how are we thinking about your identity, your emotional, like cultural, all these kind of pieces that are coming into it, right? And that's life. Like, so I thought about that framework. So very much with what you were doing in public healthcare, how this is influenced a lot of the ways that you're thinking about the dimensions and how you're helping some people in that wellness space. Oh, so cool. So if somebody were to come to you, and a helper were to find you, a parent, educator, any of these kind of people, first responders, all of the good, all of the people that are out there helping other people, and they come across you, your profile, what it is that you do. And they're like, Kathleen, like I don't even know what it is that I need, but I just know that something has to change. Something has to change in my life. And how is it that you would meet somebody in that moment when they find you?
I think it for sure depends on the person, as I find that burnout is not burnout, and everybody's experiences are so unique. But often when you are at the cusp of burnout or the peak of burnout, that is a telltale sign of what it is. Where a lot of people do express that when they reach out to me, where they feel like they've tried everything, they've tried to redevelop their sleep routine, incorporate more exercise, eating, all of those things that we know to do. We've been educated in through different channels and just feel like nothing's working and are at a loss as to what they could start to do differently. And usually, where I start with people is first giving them some education on the risk factors, the signs and symptoms of burnout to make it make sense. So, for public service professionals, anybody in a helping field, the according to Stats Can 2025 data, about 57 to 75% of public service professionals are either experiencing or have experienced symptoms of full-blown burnout within their career, um, as compared to the general population, which is about 35 to 50%. So there's a lot of different professions that exist a- across the professional spectrum, but public service professionals are at least 25% more likely to experience or be working through signs of burnout. Just to drive home the point that it is real, and taking on the public service work is not necessarily what we know to have signed up for. Or a lot of, I know for social work, it's just um, become more common for curriculum to incorporate self-care pieces or self-care components of the education, where I know for doctors, for example, or physicians, as far as I'm aware in the conversations I've been having, that really doesn't exist. That is, those are things that people have had to learn themselves throughout their career. Similar with education, similar with either military or first responders. And that alone creates a different baseline and a different different risk factors for people. So we start with, what are you currently experiencing? You might not know exactly where it started, how it's evolved, but certainly you know at least one or two things that aren't working for you. Some of those things could look like irritability, or I'm just feeling like there's constant pressure, or this the word that comes up often is buzzing. I just feel like I'm always buzzing. I go to sleep, I maybe manage to get a couple of hours of sleep, and I wake up and I'm just like constantly activated. And that's your nervous system giving you information. It's trying to communicate with you. But unless you know how to speak that language, you don't know exactly how to, you don't understand, or you might not know what next steps to take to be able to give your nervous system and your brain what they're asking for. So, all that to say, long-winded way of saying is that first we narrow down the signs and symptoms that are specific to you, and we make it make sense with the education.
Mhm. And this, you're right, because we don't know what we don't know. And I remember I went through burnout. The first time I went through it was when I was a child and youth worker, and I was in my early 20s back then.
Mhm.
And I remember sitting in my car before I would go into the house that I had to work at, and I would be a fucking sobbing mess before I would
Mhm.
go into this house. And I was going to go in and work with teenagers. You know, we're talking drugs, gangs, prostitution, all these things that were happening.
Mhm.
And I would just be a sobbing mess. And then somehow I would get my shit together and I would get into the house. I would run the house, like I would work with my teammates to get through the shift at the house and make sure everything was all good, paperwork done, all this stuff. And as soon as the last kid would go to bed, I would sit in that living room with my team and I'd be crying
Mhm.
again. And
Yeah.
my coordinator at the time was like, get your shit together for a few more minutes, go home and go and sleep. And I remember at the time I'd be watching TV and I would just start to cry. I'm like, why am I crying at this commercial? Like, what is happening? Like, I didn't even
Mhm.
know what was going on with me back then. So to
Yeah.
just have language and to understand what it is that we're moving through, and this is something that you support people with, would have been
Mhm.
fucking huge back then, to work with somebody that actually understands this. And I can't help but think, like, with all of the stuff that people do, that was just one example of the helping field. But the stuff that people see and experience and do all the time and not
Yeah.
have the language to know what it is that is happening, or how to even prevent this in the first place from it happening, would be huge, to work with somebody that knows actually how to hold that space for people, and start propelling them forward into things.
Absolutely.
So
Abs
yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I've lived it myself through my career. I worked started my career in mental health and addictions, community treatment, and did some program development. And I burnt out of that in a couple of years because I myself at the time had no idea what was going on for me. I was so attuned to what other people needed, and like you mentioned, just being absorbing the challenges of the people that we're supporting, that vicarious trauma, that vicarious grief that we internalize, not realizing it. That how wouldn't we get affected, or how wouldn't we be affected by the hard things that we're seeing, not just directly through what we're experiencing, but the compassion that we have that is really attuned to the hardship that they're experiencing as well. And then we find a way to internalize it. Often we suppress it, and especially when we have leaders who are kind of guiding us to say, well, I need you back here at 7 a.m. the next morning, so figure it out, get a good sleep, and we'll see you then. And you really don't have time to even process what your how you've been impacted or what your experience has been. I think another huge component of the way that I approach support and the way that I hold space for people is that validation. That validation that what you're experiencing is absolutely real, what you're experiencing is absolutely deserving of time and attention and prioritization and care. And it really is essential to me that people understand that whether you're hearing rhetoric from kind of the outside world, from the culture that we exist in, that says, well, you kind of know what you signed up for. If you didn't want to be burnt out, then you shouldn't have gotten into a helping profession. I want to completely squash those stigmatizing comments, and I'm on a mission to challenge that, where regardless of what you know, knew you did or didn't sign up for, doesn't again um, take you away or doesn't cure you of being a human that is impacted by all of these hard things. In my mind, it creates a necessity for a different type of and additional support so that people can stay in the work that they love, and so that the work of helping professionals can be sustainable. And again, that starts with validation as well. Is that if you don't if you're feeling like you are, maybe you're making it up, maybe you're over exaggerating, maybe you're over emotional about things, then that's not going to be the platform or the open door for positive change and for the support that's needed. That just kind of keeps you in that cycle of kind of suppressing, trying not to feel what you're feeling, coming back to it the next day, and then uh, over time wondering why you're feeling the way you're feeling and why you're completely and utterly burnt out, or wanting to leave your profession altogether, or for something that feels a lot more sustainable when it doesn't have to be that way.
Hmm. There's two things I really am pulling out of this, and you said you gave so many meaningful examples. One thing that I was really pulled through was staying in the field and the job that we love, right? Because we do give a shit about these professions. We do
Yeah.
love the work that we do. And to think of not being in that work anymore just can kind of add to all of the things that are, it feels like a mountain on top of us, because we don't want to exit. Thinking about exiting is so terrifying because we love that stuff. So that could be a goal then for these professionals, is how do I stay in this work, right? So if that's a goal and they're
Mhm.
coming to work with you and saying, I want to work with you because I want to stay in this work, but this is where I'm feeling and everything that's going on. And that validation piece as well, that's the other part that I'm really, because my shoulders just dropped like into that and thinking, yeah, thank you for understanding and just validating where I am and sitting here with me and being like, I'm not, I'm not losing it. Like this is something that's actually going
No,
on for me.
no.
And so if people are working with you and they're like, hey, this is one of my goals, and you're validating them and helping them through this, what's is this like, is that validation piece the thing that helps unlock this for them, that they're like, oh my gosh, I can stay in this field. I
Mhm,
can continue to work in here. Like, is that that big shift or moment or truth bomb that happens for them then, that like, oh my gosh, I can do this.
mhm.
This is what happens
I'd
for
say
me.
so. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say so. 'Cause, often people come to me after years and years of getting bits and pieces of advice from people who do or don't work in the field, in ways that is incredibly stigmatizing. So they have really been lacking that validation. They've sat with a lot of guilt, a lot of shame about why they're feeling the way they're feeling. They're in a place where they're really self-critical, but why they can't handle the work the way they see other people being able to handle the work, when often some people are really good at faking it. They're like, I'm okay, I'll be fine, everything's fine. Turns out inside they're not so fine. And we're comparing our experience to what we see on the surface of their experience. And
Mhm.
one of the most uh, the most common feedback that I get is, oh my gosh, you really understand.
I
And
get it.
I get it, yeah. And I take great pride in that because I've spent years, decades, not just really reflecting on and processing my own experience in order to be able to relate to other people, but also observing and talking to and really sitting with other people so that I can truly understand to be able to help them in the best way possible. So I think it starts with
Mhm.
understanding, and the understanding supports the validation, which is the open door to all the work, important work after that.
Mhm. You were right. People are very, very good at faking things, fake it till you make it, doing that things. And it's hard to drop the mask. It makes me laugh because I carry this around with me and I'm in Portugal right now, but it's something that I wore during the pandemic. And it's this, I'm fine. I mean, if you can see it. Can you see it? It's like
I
my
think,
screen, my
oh,
virtual
I
screen is
saw it
going.
just a minute.
There we go.
Oh,
I'm
there it is. There it
fine.
is.
It's fine.
I find
Everything's
everything.
fine. Right? And so this is what I used to wear, like during
Oh
the
my gosh, I
pandemic.
love that.
And
Yes,
so as soon as
yes.
you said that, I was like, yes, this is exactly what we're good at doing. And it's not fucking fine. Like any of it that
Right.
we're working through and we're not doing, it's not good. And it's but we just put it on out there as if, yeah, we're good, everything's amazing, I can just keep showing up and doing this, but at what cost am I going to keep
Hmm.
doing this to myself? And the more we put these things off as professionals, it's harder and harder and harder to get back into the stuff that we love because
Hmm.
we're just ignoring everything, all the symptoms that are out there. We're just like, no, no, I'm good, I can carry
Yeah,
on. All
yeah.
that kind of stuff just kind of kicks in for us. So if people are working with you and you're out here actually seeing them and you're validating them and you just get it and you're helping them with the language and you're helping them find tools to help prevent this in the first place, what what are they getting most surprised by after when they're working with you?
Think what comes up often is the surprise of how they feel in a short period of time. Often, what's described is a feeling of relief and that feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't have to feel guilty about setting boundaries. I don't have to feel guilty about being assertive and communicating my needs. And the approach that I've designed is intended to make that more intuitive. So it's not, you have all the tools, you have all the strategies that you need that are specific and tailored to you so that you can communicate from a place of confidence if assertive communication is something that's important to you and is helpful in the work that you do or even in your personal life. Or if it's setting boundaries, then we do a lot of role play practice. I know not everybody's a big fan of role play. It doesn't have to be anything formal with a green screen and a backdrop, but even just being able to do some practice in a safe space, in a setting with conversations that are true to you. And sometimes there are, more often than not, actually, there are a lot of people who say, like, I lie awake at night thinking about all those things I could have said, the boundary that I could have set, um, the thing that I wanted to say, the no that I wanted to say to my boss when they wanted to call me in for a third shift in a row and I had only slept 4 hours in between. And just being able to almost do a do-over in that safe space helps and supports that confidence to be able to reflect and take that as learning into the next conversation. So when you're in that situation again, you feel that sense of empowerment to say, yes, I'm not just doing this for me. I'm not just setting this boundary for my own well-being. I'm doing it for my future so that this work can be sustainable. And I'm doing it for others as well, because boundaries are kind, as they say, and it's important. The last thing that anybody wants is for somebody to be in a situation where they aren't okay if there's something that they could have done to support or to help prevent it. And for that, we do need to be able to really get clear on what our limits are and how to communicate that.
This is incredible that you help people with this because I don't know how many other people are out there that do this. I know I do it. I know lots of people that are, but there's probably so many other people out there that we get so in our heads and we ruminate on repeat about, oh, I should have said
Mhm,
this, or I'm going to say this. But then you get to this moment and you don't, or you feel like
yeah.
you can't, or it comes out differently. And it's like, oh, that conversation was so much better in my brain, but it didn't actually translate this way.
Mhm,
So, doing the thing that does feel a little weird because role playing is strange, but it's actually what helps us practice these skills.
mhm,
So, by
yeah.
the time we get into the situation where we need to clearly communicate those boundaries, we can. And we can start retraining our brains, retraining our nervous systems, all of that good stuff, to be like, this is okay, see, you did it, you said it, this is fine, this is what happened. But it can be, we can get into our heads a lot about this stuff without having a way through it and knowing how
Mhm,
to change it or do it, and then that just starts the cycle over and over and over again and just keeps pushing you down a little bit more, right? Because there's no way out of it. So you just feel like, okay, I'm just going to accept it again, because if I, like the example you said, they're calling me, they need me to do another shift, I'm just going to say yes because I don't know how to say no. I haven't
mhm,
practiced saying no yet. I don't know how to do it. I want to, but I'm
mhm.
not actually doing it. Right. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. And there's no shame in not knowing. I think that's important to say as well. And often the example that I use is like a comparison between mental health skill building and physical health skill building. So I tried something new a couple of months ago where I was a basketball player in my younger years and I ran cross country. So I have like heel toe, heel toe, heel toe memorized in my mind. The older I get, the more my joints have been asking for me to try something a little bit different. And I've been hearing all about how strength training is helpful or can be very healthy for women of a certain age, not to age myself. So I signed myself up for a lifting class, and the first thought in my mind is, why don't I just go to the gym and start lifting stuff? Like, how hard could it be? But after taking this class on a weekly basis, I learned how much I didn't know about what proper form looks like, where to start in terms of weight, how my feet need to be positioned. Where when you're weightlifting, I learned that you need to be focused on the center of your foot, not your heel and toe. So it was completely unlearning one way of thinking when it came to things I was doing for my physical fitness and relearning a different way to position my foot and find balance and stability. And it has been so eye-opening, and I feel so much more confident that what I am doing for my physical health is truly benefiting me rather than just like fumbling through it at the gym, hoping for the best and hoping that I don't hurt myself. And that is I feel like a copy and paste of what I do in terms of mental health and walk people through in terms of mental health skill building, where there's so many things that you might have learned that served you well at one point in your life, maybe are no longer serving you. That's why it's important to take that step by step to relearn, do an assessment of where you're at, and really apply what will work for you in the future to meet you where you're at.
Kathleen, this is such a good example because we think that we can know what it is that we're doing. Like I could go to the gym, I can lift, I can do this. And you might have even been doing that for years, but then you can still there's still room to learn something new. You can still go and learn how somebody else is doing this or teach you something different about it. And it's these blocks, right? Okay, now I know how to stand. Now I know how my body needs to feel. Now I know how I should be lifting and doing these things, and you can apply these skills differently. And so you may knew knowing how to lift weights before, but now you actually are like, I know how to do this for a lot differently for my body. Same thing with mental health, same thing with burnout, all of these things. You We're never too old to still keep learning these things and to figure out a new tool, something else that's going to be practical for us. This is why continuing education for professionals is so instrumental. And some of the things that we forget to do is self-care. Like we're talking to other people about it with all of our clients, but we aren't doing these things ourselves, or we maybe just don't we're maybe not thinking about it from a different perspective and just showing up and doing things as we've always done. And this is why the collapse happens, right? This is why the loop starts to go on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, this is a
Yeah.
good
Mm,
example. I'll be
yeah.
using this with some of the professionals I work with and pointing them towards what did I say we're going to be? Episode 20. But like, go fucking listen to episode 20 right now and listen in on what's happening with burnout. Like, my gosh. Oh my gosh. So good. Okay. So this is one of my favorite parts of the podcast. All the parts are my favorite, but this is a really fun part that I'm doing because we can be going along in our life and we think sometimes that there's all these check boxes that we need to do with our wellness, and that's not how life goes at all. We don't just get well with things. Something in our life could happen and it could derail us. Like burnout. Like burnout's a good example of that. Everything could be going great, and all of a sudden you're crying at TV shows, wondering why you're crying. And it's a happy show, and you're like, why is this? Why am I feeling this way? Things happen in life. So I'm calling. What I'm doing is I'm spinning this wheel, and I'm calling it the wellness isn't linear, like WTF wheel. And I just keep things really absurd and fucking human because who
I
knows what's
love
gonna
that so
happen,
much.
right? It's hilarious. And it's so fun because we can just, I've like throughout the podcast so far, we could be talking about something like really deep and like I've had people like we've gotten teary-eyed and started talking about things, and then other things, I don't know, we're just talking about something really absurd and ridiculous, like why are we eating cereal on repeat for like the fourth time in a row like for
Right.
our dinner because we don't want to be cooking or any of that stuff. Like who knows what it is that we're going to do. So I need to get this set up here, and I haven't done that because I'm just like, let me get this all going over here. And I'm going to get us to spin this wheel and see what, and I don't come up with the questions. I definitely throw this into AI. And I'm like, dear robot, please let us, talk about whatever on wellness. And it's going to show us what we want to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spin this wheel for us. And it's going to be freaking hilarious or really deep. I have no idea, whichever one's going to happen here. Okay. Let me share screen. Can you see it okay?
I can see it.
Okay, awesome. Let's give this a whirl.
Oh, I love the music too.
I know, right? It just gets you going. Like, what's gonna happen here? Okay. See? Oh my gosh, I was just
Ooh,
talking about cereal. I was just doing
confetti.
that. Confetti too.
That's
It's
so
like,
fun.
okay, so this is what's your go-to comfort meal when wellness goes out the window. So,
Mm.
what's your go-to comfort meal when wellness goes out the window? And what's
That is
happening?
such a good question. I have not been asked that in forever, actually. I'd say I am a simple peanut butter sandwich girl. Slather some peanut butter between bread, and I am good to go. And I am that weird girl that if you offer me a couple of pickles on the side, I will be the happiest camper ever. Pickles and peanut butter all day long for me.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Like we might be very much like soul friends because I love
No, you
doing this too.
too?
So I feel like I go right back to this childhood like snack board that I just loved. And I'm like, it's like a peanut butter and fucking jelly sandwich. And it's literally pickles, and I put cheese on the plate with some grapes and something like that. And I'm like, I'll just have a little bit of mixture of all of this stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm 10 years old again. This is what I'm eating.
Right. So good. That's awesome.
So that's the go-to. So when we're burned out as fuck and we don't want to do anything and whatever else, it's like, I'm actually not doing this. I am going to be making my peanut butter sandwich. And this is what I'm going to be doing. Did I hear you say something with chocolate milk in there too, or did I just make that up in my brain? Because now my 10-year-old kid is like, where's the chocolate though? Like, what's happening? Yeah.
I don't know if I said that out loud, but I was definitely thinking it. Chocolate milk all the way. Or even, do you remember strawberry milk? Is that still a thing?
So
With the
I
Nesquik?
don't. But my nieces, they've like gone in, like they've told me about the strawberry milk and doing this stuff. But I used to love the strawberry milkshakes and things like that, but not the strawberry milk, but strawberry milkshakes. So add in some ice cream, and yes, please, thank
Ah,
you. Oh my gosh, I haven't had that
absolutely.
in
I'm in.
years. I haven't had it in years. I don't even drink dairy or dairy anymore, any of these things. So I would love to find some sort of chocolate, like almond milk or something that's going to fulfill that. Maybe I need to go on a hunt and see what I can
Yeah.
find, right? Oh my gosh. So peanut butter,
Grocery store
see?
scavengers. We just came up with some pretty great dinner ideas. I know exactly what I'm having tonight.
Right? Exactly. I like the scavenger hunt idea in the grocery store. That could be very fun, right? This is what we're going for. Okay, but for peanut butter, because this is a very serious question, would it be smooth or would it be crunchy for the peanut butter?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna have to go with smooth. Smooth
Smooth.
is my fave. I wouldn't
See?
say no to a crunchy peanut butter sandwich, but smooth would definitely be my first choice.
Right? I have no idea how we're gonna like blend in peanut butter sandwiches that are smooth peanut butter, like with talking about burnout and whatever else is happening, but somehow this is what we're supposed to be talking about today. So these two things, so burnout and peanut butter do apparently go together. It's a sticky mess. Like maybe it's a like maybe,
There's something
right?
there. I
I
think you're
don't
onto
know.
something.
We'll play this out a little bit more. Something needs to happen because burnout maybe doesn't need to be so sticky, or maybe peanut butter. I don't know, or maybe it's not so nutty. I'm not sure. But something usually comes out of it at some point in this, and like that's the name of your episode. And so I'll figure it out later.
I love that. You're a wordsmith.
Other people are going to be listening and being like, it should have been this, obviously. Oh my gosh, my sister is way better at the words than this, like than I am. But I'll send this to her and be like, what are we calling this? Oh, so good. See, you just don't know what's going to happen when we spin that thing. And I have no idea why I wanted us to talk about that, but now everybody knows that Kathleen and Amanda really enjoy peanut butter sandwiches, and this is what's happening. So
Bonding
good.
over peanut butter.
But right, just a good, yeah, just get a good peanut butter sandwich. That's all you need. You know what we need right now? Just a peanut butter sandwich. We can just relax. We can talk this through. That's all we need. Let's just take this back to basics and have a peanut butter sandwich, and then we can just talk about the life things. That's what we need to do. Oh, so good. Okay. See, I never know what's gonna happen on that fucking robot, what it's gonna do to us. But that's what we talked about today. And now we know a little bit more about our dietary and what when we're throwing wellness out the window. But I don't even know if it would be throwing wellness out the window because maybe that's what our wellness needs is just a good peanut butter sandwich once in a while.
Right, right.
So it's all good. All good. Okay, so before I'm gonna ask one more question because I always like to end asking this question, but before I end the show today, I want people to know more about your coaching services, any of the things that you kind of offer, any of that good stuff, and go from there, because we always hit end record and they're like, fuck, I wish people knew that about me and what I offer and what I do. But before that, I'm asking everybody the name of the show. So, what does Wellness Me Up mean to you in your own words?
I love the name Wellness Me Up because I think that it's again going back to your testament to you as a great wordsmith. a lot comes to mind. When I think of wellness me up, I think dressing up, I think armoring or suiting up, where when I think about the world, whether a professional world, the personal world, it can be tough out there. And things can get heavy, things can get messy or nutty. And it's important that we are empowered. And I think there are a lot of wonderful resources out there, but being wellness me up to me is about connecting people to the right ones. So giving people a platform to share, help people relate to what's offered, what we offer, so that they can really feel empowered to be able to take that first step towards a resource that they know is going to help them moving forward. And the lovely lady who braids my hair, I'll share her details with you afterwards if you don't mind including it for others. Same with a shout out to Mia, who's the one who was teaching the lifting class that I participated in. But she often says, like, I breathe life into me people. When you ask her what she does for a living, it's not braiding hair, it's breathing life into people. Where what she means by that is that I want to give people empowerment, I want to give them confidence, I want to give them that boost so that they leave my chair feeling better than when they came in. And I feel like you do that as well.
I am loving this question so much because and thank you for that. So many people are answering this with just it's such a different answer. It's such a different perspective. And even how you said this at the beginning, um armoring people up, right? Like armoring them up prevent the burnout and helping people help and doing these things. So you armor people with that tool as well and to help people do these things. So it's pretty cool how it just like weaves into your perspective and what it is that you're doing out there in the wellness space and helping people with all the good stuff too. So shout out back to you too,
Thank you.
for all the things that you're doing out here to support people with this. So good. So, Kathleen, if people are listening and they're like, yep, I am going through some of the things, I'm in the health field. I would love to talk to Kathleen more so that way I can just unpack some of the things happening in my brain. What's the best way for them to get in contact with you?
Lots of different ways to get in contact with me. The easiest is probably a direct email, Kathleen at amfmsolutions.com, AMFM, short for A Minute for Mental Health. You can also reach out to me on social media. I'm pretty active on Instagram, LinkedIn as well, to be able to reach with the professionals in our community. And really, a lot of the bulk of what I offer is individual coaching sessions. I also provide team support. I host webinars. I have one coming up in a couple of weeks. And I offer in-person sessions as well. My newest offering is called the Sustainability Series. So that is hand-selected, hand-designed workshops in a series. And I really tailor them to what works for people, whether you want them shortened, 15-minute, half an hour sessions to fit between lunch breaks or between shift rotations, or longer half-day ones for leaders to incorporate into wellness retreats or otherwise. I also create tangible resources. So after you've participated in one of the sustainability series, all of the information that's shared gets turned into a document so that you can carry that learning forward. I recommend resources, whether kind of things that the Mental Health Commission of Canada has created, or workplace wellness strategies, and really link it, because my goal is not just a one and done workshop or a one and done coaching session. It's meant to be sustainable, and that is so, so important to me. So I really implement that and support people in creating and connecting to the resources on an ongoing basis. And I'm always around. I'll love to do check-ins with people as well, and to create that open door for people to be able to ask questions even after the workshops, so that they can feel supported. Not everything is as intuitive as it might be, and sometimes it takes a couple of questions and a little bit more practice, and I'm here to support all of that.
your website, like what you've called it's a minute for mental health. Is that what you've called it? AF is just saying what kind of person you are. You're like, yeah, I've got a minute. I can help. I can do these things. So this is incredible. And that word sustainable too, right? Because sometimes with wellness, if we're on this path and we're wanting to fix things and just move forward in our wellness goals, sometimes it's not sustainable with what we're doing, right? Because we have this too much of a leap or any of that kind of good stuff. And so I really appreciate you using that word sustainability because we want wellness to be sustainable. And that's exactly what you're doing with helping people in this helping profession make things more sustainable and preventing things, being that proactive piece. I think sometimes that doesn't happen so much in the space that we can all work in, is that we're not so proactive. It's very much reactive. And so to move through things and to keep working in the jobs that we all love doing and supporting others, it needs to be sustainable. So I'm really excited that I know you, that I can, like my brain is just lit up with so many people that you're going to be able to help in this industry. So I'm so excited to follow along and support you with everything that you're doing to support others who are supporting others. Like it's such a good domino effect. I love it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the conversation today. I do feel so good about what we've been able to talk about today, and I am really excited to hopefully continue the conversation and stay in touch. But thank you again
Yes.
for having me on the show today.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so that is another episode of Wellness Me Up. And here is to everybody getting more wellness up one episode at a time. We will catch you next time.